Hi everyone, my name is Robin. I'm a physical therapist, a Pilates and yoga instructor, and I have over 20 years of experience helping people feel their best through movement and health and well-being. I have for you today a beginner/improvers Pilates class. This is designed for those who have a little bit of experience with Pilates, but you're really keen to push your strength, to push your control, and to generally push your health and well-being forward. So if you are a little bit more experienced, of course, the great thing with Pilates is that you can always work harder. You can always level up. If you're finding the exercise a little bit too challenging, you can always level it down. It's one of the reasons I love Pilates is it really is accessible to everybody. So I am using today a block. You can use a ball, or if you don't have a ball or a block, you can use a cushion or a rolled up towel. But as well, if you don't have anything, you can absolutely do this class with no equipment at all. So let's get started. We are going to start today at the top of our mat, and we're going to start with the very classic Pilates warm-up of roll down. So rolling down, articulating through your vertebrae, one vertebrae at a time, warming up all of the muscles. So start by pulling in your tummy muscles. Let's find our nice Pilates posture. So dropping your tailbone down, engaging and lifting through your abdominals, standing nice and tall, and then we're going to start just the top of your head, and then we're articulating down one vertebrae at a time, all the way till you reach your maximum. Now at this point in class, the knees can still be nice and bent. We're just starting to warm up the spine, warm up the back body, and also just waking up those core muscles. Make sure that you're pulling your navel in towards your spine. And we're going to take that again, rolling down and pausing at the bottom, then scooping up your abdominals and then restacking your spine. We're going to do that one more time. So rolling down again, one vertebrae at a time. This time we're going to pause a little longer at the bottom. So you can stay here with your knees bent, just stretching out the back body, or you can start to straighten and bend one leg at a time, starting to wake up your body a little bit more. Then we're going to clasp opposite hand to opposite elbow, and we're just going to swing side to side, or like you're making a figure of 8 with your upper body. Really good way to wake up your lower back here. Start loosening everything off. Okay, coming back to the middle, finding stillness, and then rolling up again, articulating through your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Good. From here, we're just going to reach up nice and tall, grabbing hold of your right wrist with your left hand, stretching up and over, nice side bend, and coming back through center. We're going to go the other way, so stretching over to your right. And we're going to take a twist, so reaching your right arm forward, your left arm back. Now try and keep your hips facing forward. It's just your torso that's twisting. Then waking up our spine, and the other way, and back. And then we're going to take another roll down, but we're going to come all the way down to the mat now. So rolling down one vertebrae at a time, coming into your hands, crouching down. We're going to come now onto our backs, so swinging your legs around, sitting up nice and tall, knees bent. Then if you need a little bit of support, you can use the hands around the backs of your thighs, but otherwise trying a nice Pilates roll down, articulating through your spine, one vertebrae at a time, coming onto your backs. Now, we're just going to start by reminding ourselves about our good Pilates core engagement. So drawing your tummy button in. So first, let's start with a neutral spine. So we're not imprinting our spine yet. So a small little pocket of air behind your lower back, but really pulling that navel in deep. And then we're going to keeping our pelvis absolutely still, dropping one knee out to the side without letting the opposite hip pop off, and bring it back to the middle. And the other side, nothing happening in your pelvis, and bringing that one back. Then we're going to try and lift your right leg up to a tabletop position, keeping your pelvis really still, and down, and the other one. and down. Now bringing your heels a little bit closer to your glutes, we're going to start now into our roll-ups, our pelvic tuck and roll-ups. So pressing, now we are going to press your lower back into the floor, engaging your glute muscles, engaging your core, rolling up through your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Pause at the top and rolling back down. And coming just to a neutral spine. Don't come all the way into arch, but just coming into a neutral spine. And again, so tucking your pelvis under, articulating up through your spine, one vertebrae at a time, and coming back down. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to pause at the top this time, so rolling up through your spine, holding your hips nice and high, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core muscles. Stay here if you'd like, otherwise floating your arms up and all the way over your head. Holding your hips nice and high, we're going to float our arms back down to your sides. And again, keep your hips driving up high over your head and floating your arms back down. And then rolling your hips back down. We should all be feeling quite a bit warmer now. From here, we're going to imprint our spine, so really pressing your lower back into the floor now, lifting your legs up to a tabletop position. Now holding this, we're going to start with our changes, our toe taps. So we have tap and lift, and tap and lift, really starting to wake up those core muscles before we get into the really hard core work. So tap and lift and tap. Do not let your lower back arch off the floor. Keep your lower back imprinted into the floor. Tap and lift and tap and lift. Keep going. Tap and tap. We've got 4 more each side. And tap and tap. 1 more. Tap and lift and tap and lift. Good. We're going to come into slightly harder version now. So again, imprinting your spine, keep that back pressing really firmly into the floor, and we're just going to extend one leg and bring it back. Only extend it as low as you can, keeping that back pressed against the floor. This isn't about how low you can go. It's about control and engagement in those deep core muscles. So extend and in and extend and in. Keep going and in. Keep pressing that navel towards your spine and in and out and in. Again, we've got 4 more each side. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Good. And using your tummy muscles to draw your knees in towards your chest. Have a little break. We're going to step it up now. So the easier version of this next one is to leave your head and chest on the floor, but I think everybody should try and join me. It's not a terribly challenging exercise to lift your head and shoulders off the floor. You're going to hold onto your left knee with your hands and extend the other leg up towards the ceiling. Now you're working towards straight. If you can't get it quite straight, that's all right. Have a small bend, but you are working towards straight. And then we're just going to lower that foot and lift it up. So the lower you go, the harder it is. So only lower it as far as you can with control. We have 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Well done. We're going to switch legs. So other leg goes up towards the ceiling and lowering it down for 10 and 9 and 8. Can you get your knee a little straighter? And 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Well done. Hug both knees into your chest. We're going to go straight away into our single leg stretch. So now you're going to extend one leg to the high diagonal, pull the other knee in towards your chest. Again, only extending it as low as you can, keeping that lower back pressed tight to the floor. So we have switch and switch. This isn't about speed. Keep it slow and controlled. Just 8 more. And 7. And 6. And 5. And 4. You can always put your head down if you need to. 3. Or keep your legs higher. 2. And 1. Good. Hug both knees into your chest and roll your head and chest down for just a minute. Take a breather. We're going to step it up now a little bit. We're going to try our double leg stretch. So again, if this one is a little bit challenging, you can leave your head and chest on the floor. You can use your arms for support if you need to. So engaging through your core, pressing your back into the floor, lifting up. So your options here, the full version is to extend arms and legs out to any degree that you can, keeping your small bend in your knees if you need to. If you'd like a slightly easier version, pressing the backs of your arms onto the floor just to give yourself a little bit more support. So here we go. We're going to just do 10 today. Pressing your lumbar spine into the mat. We have 1. And 2. And 3. Keep your legs higher if you need to. It's all right if they're way up there, as long as your lumbar spine is pressing into the mat. And 5. And 6. And 7. And 8. And 9. And 10. Well done. Hug your knees in. Give them a little circle if you need to relax your lower back. Your abs should be really fired up now with all of that. So now is your time to grab your ball or your block if you have it. Otherwise, again, you can certainly do this exercise without. So we're going to come into our spinal twist. So bringing your arms out to a capital T position. This is perhaps one of my favorite exercises in Pilates. I think it's so great for helping people's spines. Squeezing the block between your knees or just squeezing your knees together. And then using your abdominal muscles to control the movement. The movement does not come from gravity. It comes from your abs. So lowering your knees towards the side, only as far as you can go with control, and then use those abdominals to bring your knees back up. And the other way. Lowering down and back to center. Keep going. Control and core engagement is the key for this exercise. Otherwise, gravity takes over and you lose a lot of the benefit. And back. Keep going. Can you get your knees a little bit lower each time you go? And always, again, just double checking that that navel is pulling in towards your spine. We're going to do 2 more each side. One more. Lowering your knees and back to center and in. So working our inner thighs, and one last real push for abdominals. Bring your hands down by your sides for a little bit of extra support, and then again really imprinting that spine as best you can. Just lower your knees so that you can tap both toes to the floor and lift them up. If that's too much, just go as low as you can. Only go as far as you can, keeping, again, that lumbar spine pressed to the mat. We're just going to do 10, so 8 more. 8. And 7. And 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. and 2, and 1. Well done. Squeezing that block between your knees. We're just going to have a little bit more inner thigh work here. So squeezing in as much as you can. We're almost done. Straighten your legs and bend them back in. We're just doing 6. Really squeezing that block for 5. The knees don't go all the way straight, that's fine. 4, or just squeezing your legs together. 3, and 2. You're almost there. And 1. Good. And relaxing. Knees down. Have your feet mat width apart, just relaxing out the fronts of those hips and relaxing out your core muscles for a minute before we move on. Okay, we're going to come now to some bridging. So grabbing your block again. We're continuing to work those inner thighs. And if you don't have a block or something to squeeze between your knees, absolutely fine to do it without. You can, of course, do bridging at any time. So tucking your pelvis under, rolling your hips up, but squeezing that block between your knees. Keep squeezing, keep lifting. Now this time, we're nice and warm now, so drive your glutes as high as you can and hold them there for 3, 2, 1, and rolling back down. We're going to do that twice more. So deep engagement in your spine, lifting up, squeezing those glutes, working the backs of the legs for 3, 2, 1, and lowering back down, keeping your neck nice and long as well. And rolling up, push through your glutes for 3, 2, 1. This time we're going to stay there. Can you lift your glutes any higher? And we're going to lift our heels for 10 and lower, and 8. All right, 9, 8. Need to practice my counting. 7 and 6. You should feel the backs of your legs really firing up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And roll that pelvis back down. Just check that you're still squeezing. If you need to have a little breather for a second, feel free. Relax those inner thighs for a minute. Wiggle your hips side to side if you need to. We're going to do one more bridge variation. Really good for your hamstring strength and your glute strength. So squeezing that block again, articulating up through your spine, driving your hips nice and high. Feel your glutes and your hamstrings working, the backs of your legs. Now we're going to walk our feet out, just a footprint. Keep squeezing and back in. That's it. And now leading with the other foot. So left foot, right foot, and in. Keep going, changing feet every time. We're not doing many of these, but try and keep your pelvis really high and keep squeezing that block between your knees. This is not an easy exercise. Good. Check that your hips are still nice and high. We're just going to do one more each side. Can you drive your hips up just to finish? We're going to do little pulses just to finish. So squeeze the block again and then pulse those hips up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And lower those hips down. Well done, everyone. You can set your block or ball off to the side if you've got it. Walk those feet mat width apart and windshield wiper your legs side to side, just relaxing out those hips and that lower back. Good. Now we are going to come onto our sides now, coming into our hip work. So we're going to take today a standard Pilates side kick. So engaging through your core, you can be here or you can be here, whatever you find more comfortable. But if you're lifted, try and stay nice and lifted. Try not to just sink too badly into your shoulder. So flex both feet. Now your kneecaps stay both facing straight forward. Don't let your toes turn up to the ceiling. Keep your knees forward, lifting your leg up to hip height. Now, obviously in Pilates, always the goal is to keep your hips really still. And we're going to pump that leg forward for 2 and then pump it back for 2. So forward and back, really pulling in through that navel still, trying to avoid rocking your hips and your pelvis everywhere. And also trying to keep that leg high. Try to prevent that leg from dropping closer and closer to the floor. I have lost count already. I think that's 5. We're going to 8. We'll say that's 6 and 7 and 8. Good. Now bring that leg back in line with your body. Keep it rotated in our classic leg circles. So circling. These can be as big or small as you want. Smaller takes control. Big takes more hip strength. Just trying to keep those kneecaps facing forward and trying to keep your pelvis really still so you're not rolling your hips forwards and backwards. Just the legs circling from the hip joint. For 3 and 2 and 1. And reversing the circle for 10, 9, 8. You should feel the sides of your hips really firing up. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Hold that leg high. My kneecap is still facing forward, and we're just going to pull it in towards your chest and extend out. We're almost done. Embrace the burn on that hip. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Bring that leg down. Just give it a little rub if you need to. So that works the lateral hip, the muscles at the side of our hip. We also need to work the muscles that are deep into our glutes, our hip external rotators. So for this one, bring both knees up to a 90-90 position. So it's like you are chair shaped. And then from here, we're just going to open those knees. So a butterfly or a clam, but in a slightly altered position. So we're going to have 10 and 9 and 8 and 7. Really squeezing from here. 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now hold that knee high. This might feel slightly strange, but it's a really good way to work those deep external rotators of your hip. Holding that knee rotated up, you're just going to lift it towards your shoulder and down. For 8 and 7 and 6. Keep that knee working towards the ceiling. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good. And just relax. Give that hip a bit of a rub. It should be burning. We're going to go straight away onto the other side. So swinging around to face the other direction. Starting with our side kicks, classic Pilates side kicks. So stabilizing through your pelvis, lifting up. Try to avoid sinking too much into your shoulder. Hand on the floor for a little bit of support. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can bring that other hand here. But that is a much more advanced version. So lifting that knee high. And we have 10 and back. And 8 and 7. Trying to keep those hips still. 6 and 5. Keep that leg up. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good. And then holding that hip high in the center, we're going to go for our circles for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And reversing for 10. The hips starting to burn. That's good. That's those muscles getting stronger. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Just relax that knee down for a second. Give it a little rub if you want. We've got our knee to your chest. So keeping that knee up, we have 10. Keeping that kneecap facing forward. 8 and 7 and 6. Getting these side of your hips stronger is really, really important for protecting your lower back. 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Well done. Relax that leg out. The side of the hip should be burning now. So now we are coming into our hip external rotators. So bringing your knees up to that 90-90 or chair-shaped position, and then squeezing from deep in the back of your glutes to lift just your knees. So getting as much lift in that knee as you can without rocking your pelvis back. You might not go as high as me. I have quite flexible hips. Don't compare yourself to anybody always in Pilates. It's all about working within your own body and trying to push your own strength and your own well-being. 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Hold that knee up and then drawing that knee towards your shoulder, but also trying to work that knee towards the ceiling at the same time. And 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Good. Well done, everybody. Just relaxing out those hips. We're going to come up and we're going to do our mermaid stretch on both sides. Always really nice to do the mermaid stretch after doing the work on the hips. So bringing your knees to one side and then just stretching up and over and coming the other way. I'm going to keep it active for now. And then this time just stretching over for a few seconds. Now try and spiral your chest straight forward or even slightly up. Avoid being there. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Good. And then swinging your knees round to the other side. Always one side feels a bit looser than the other. Just embrace it and work towards what your body can do. Keeping it active to start with. And then this time we're just going to stay and spiraling your chest towards the ceiling or straight ahead, getting a nice side stretch through the side body and also working into the flexibility of the hips as well. Well done. Right, we're going to come now just into a little bit of roll-up practice and rolling like a ball. So bringing your hands around the fronts of your shins, trying to balance on your glutes. So balance on your sit bone so you're not putting any weight into your toes. Deep engagement in your core muscles as always in Pilates, and then just letting yourself roll back to the tips of your shoulders and trying to find that balance point and keep going. Keep going in your own time. Don't forget to keep thinking about breathing as well. Just trying 3 or 4 more and trying to find that balance point every time. Let's try one more. Good. Okay, and then stretching, repositioning yourself on your mat if you need to. We're just going to come up into a little bit of a spinal stretch. So reaching tall, reach those arms forward, and now using your core muscles to pull you forward and then restacking your spine. And again, so diving forward and then restacking your spine. We're going to do twice more. Diving forward between your toes and lifting up. And last time. We're going to come into the saw now. So stretching your arms out to the side. Bring your feet mat width apart. Again, the movement comes from your center. So you're going to twist without letting the hips move too much. Just twisting your torso. And then reaching that opposite hand to the outside of the opposite foot. Coming back up and changing sides. So we're just going to do 4 each side. But again, making sure the movement comes from your core, really getting into your oblique muscles, as well as obviously working on that flexibility a little bit. Twice more each side. One more time. And back to center. Good. Bringing those knees up. We're going to work a little bit before we move on to our back work, just onto our roll up strength or roll down strength. So challenging, you can use your hands on the backs of your thighs if you want. If you're a bit more experienced or a bit stronger and you want to challenge yourself, bringing your arms forward, or you can even bring your legs all the way straight. I will demonstrate the easier version. Deep C curve in your spine, really pulling those tummy muscles in, rolling back, one vertebrae at a time, all the way to the floor. Breathe in to float your arms over your head and out. Then breathing in to float your arms up towards the ceiling, curling up through your head and chest, grabbing hold of the backs of your thighs if you'd like a little bit of help, and rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Just sit up nice and tall. Well done. Don't worry if it feels very challenging. Roll-ups are very hard. I'll demonstrate now without the hands, so reaching your arms forward if you don't want to use your hands, rolling down one vertebrae at a time, and floating your arms all the way over your head. And again, breathing in and breathing out to curl your head and chest up and lifting up nice and tall. Let's do it one more together. Pick your level. I'll demonstrate it this time with straight legs. So breathing out, curling in deep into your C curve, rolling one vertebrae at a time. Arms over your head. Breathing in and breathing out to curl up and sitting up nice and tall. Well done. We're just going to do one more just to come back down onto our mats. Good. And rolling over. We're going to come now into some back work. So we're going to warm up to start with just a basic small lift. So engaging your glute muscles, scooping up with your lower abdominal muscles to protect your spine. And we're going to lift up from your upper back. Just a small little lift and lowering back down. And again, lifting up. Use your back muscles to lift. Your hands can help a little bit at this point, but focus on the movement coming from those back muscles. And again, lifting up. Keep your abdominals scooping up. If you can, take your hands off the floor for 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. Well done. So let's keep going there. So lifting up, pulling your shoulder blades down your back, keeping your abdominals scooped up, lifting your hands off the mat for 3, 2, 1. Place your hands back down, lift your legs for 3, 2, 1. And lower. Lift your hands for 3, 2, 1. And lower. Lift your legs for 3, 2, 1. Lower. One more time. Keep trying to lift that chest. Keep those abdominals pulled in. And legs. And lower everything back down. Good. We're going to take it up one more level. You can stay with that if you'd like, or you can join me in one more level. So we're going to lift our head and chest. Then we're going to lift legs and arms at the same time. 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower just twice more. For 3, 2, 1. And lower. One more time. 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower everything back down. Well done. Let's press back into a well-deserved child's pose. Stretching out that lower back. We're not quite done there. I'm going to give us one more push for our lower back. So making your way back onto your belly. We're going to reach arms over your head this time. So really good, this one, for your lower back, for your spine, but also really good for the backs of your arms and the backs of your shoulders as well. So thumbs facing towards the ceiling. You're going to squeeze your glutes so that your legs are rotated outwards. Now we're going to lift right arm and right leg as high as you can. Don't forget to keep that engagement in your core muscles as well. For 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Other side. Lifting up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep squeezing your glutes. Again, lifting. Can you lift a little higher this time? And lower. And the other side, lifting. 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower. Keep going. Lifting, trying to lift a little bit higher every time. You can stay with this, or one more level up is lifting everything at the same time. Arms, legs, glutes. So engaging through your legs, scooping up your abdominals, lifting everything up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower everything back down. Just twice more. Lifting up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Last time, lifting up. 4, 3, and 2, and 1, and lower everything back down. Well done, and pressing back into your child's pose. Well done. I know that one's quite a challenge on the lower back, but really, really good for building spinal strength, which just protects your spine, protects your back. Okay, let's just take a little bit of stretch. So walking your hands over to one side, just to stretch out that spine. And walking the hands to the other side. Coming back to the middle. Now, so coming now onto your glutes, having a seat again, we're just going to do a little bit of arm work now. Always important to include arm work. So elbows facing back. We're going to do some little tricep dips here. So squeezing your abdominals, pressing up into that reverse tabletop position. Now you can stay here if that's enough for you, or work on bending your elbows back and then pressing up. So we have 8 and 7, trying to keep the weight going into your arms. 6. If this is a bit sore on your wrist, you can turn your fingers outwards. Keep your elbows going straight back. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Last little push for those shoulders. Lift your hips a little bit higher, and can you rock your weight back and forward. Try not to lock out your elbows. Try to keep a slight bend in them. 4, 3 and 2 and 1. You can hold here for 10 seconds, or you can lift one leg for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And lower those hips with control. Well done. Okay. Always important in Pilates class that we include upper body work. We're going to do one more little thing for our upper body, so that really works the triceps and the back. We're going to work the front of our arms now. We're going to come into just a basic push-up position. Feel free to put your knees down for this one if you want. But if you'd like to join me in a full press-up position, extending those legs back. And we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can stay here if you'd like, or you can join me in lifting one leg. Rock forward and back and lower. So this is our leg pull. Lifting, pull forward and back. We're just doing 2 more each side. Forward and back. And lift, forward, back. Keep those abdominals pulling in nice and tight. Last one. And lower your knees and press back.